A great new biopic opened up recently on the legendary James Brown called Get On Up. The film, executive produced by my old friend OG music supervisor Peter Afterman and produced by Mick Jagger and Brian Grazer, is getting good looks out there. So go out and support the legendary man himself, James Brown, how he changed the face of music. And we look forward to having Peter on Q-Score talking about the experience. See you next time. Welcome back to Q-Score. My next guest, Kier Lehman, is a multifaceted music supervisor who came up through the ranks as one of the hit-the-ground-running fellas Supervision team, cutting his teeth on the massive CSI franchise, and then music supervising the iconic HBO show Entourage. In 2013, he became an executive at Sony Pictures, working for the most awesome Spring Aspers and Leah Volek. Now he's music supervising cool movies like The Pro, The Waiter, and just finished the blockbuster 22 Jump Street. Ladies and gentlemen, Kier Lehman. Thanks for coming out, my man.
My pleasure.
So tell us about the story of you in this building, first of all.
The building we're in right now, my dad used to have office space in this building.
Random.
Pretty funny, yeah. When I was
how old were you?
I was pretty young, probably like 8, 9, 10.
You'd come here as a kid when it was a little when Hollywood was a little bit seedier.
It was a little seedy. I remember not being very comfortable going in the back alleyway.
Yes.
At night.
It's funny. Small world.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning, man. Why did you want to become a music supervisor? How did it happen for you?
Good question. Right. I always been into music since I was young, and it was always in my house. My dad was a record collector and audiophile. Always had crazy sound system in the house, and would be playing records and take me record shopping, and he would be playing all kinds of different things, a lot of jazz, a lot of electronic music. You know, early stuff, Brian Eno and
wow. So he was
Vangelis
he was into
kind of stuff. Cool stuff. Not so much Beatles and Stones like in my house when I was growing up, and so I just got exposed to a lot of stuff, and I didn't really appreciate it. I thought it was really weird. And then as I got older, and I started listening to more music, and you know, listening to like even a lot of hip hop stuff, and seeing where those samples came from. And then realizing like, oh wow, my dad has all those records in his collection. I can go pick through it and find them and you know, kind of learn about that and get, you know, really interested in it through that kind of connection to it.
And so what was your first break to get in?
I was right out of college, and I'd studied scoring and writing for media.
Are you a composer?
College.
What do you play instrument?
I started playing guitar when I was young, and then in college studied piano, and not very good at it, but you know, learned just about composition, and then got to practice writing for media. We did ads and film scenes and stuff like that.
Wow. I did see you had a composer credit, right? You did some theme for something somewhere?
I did a theme for a BET talk show.
Sweet.
Which was fun, came about through a friend who was producing it and looking for something, and ended up being able to deliver what they needed. And came together. So I was, you know, just had come back to LA. I grew up here, and I had moved back after college, and was interested in working as a composer or as a music supervisor. And I had a brother-in-law who had worked in the music industry, or still does work in the music industry, and had kind of mentioned that job to me early on as something that I may be good at.
So he put it in your head?
Yeah, when I was probably in high school. And
wow.
I wasn't serious about it, but then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, that could be cool. I'd like to do that. And ended up connecting with, being connected with Jason and Deborah Baum, and went and met Jason one day, and we hit it off. And I started working for him as an intern, and kind of worked my way up, and was an assistant for a long time, and just kind of kept working on shows with him until, you know, was more and more involved in the process.
And so how long did you spend at Hit the Ground Running?
I was at Hit the Ground Running for about 5 years. And,
you guys had some big shows, right?
We had some great shows. We did all the CSI shows, you know, some Fox shows, and you know, a lot of shows that were on for a season or two and got canceled, but
that happens
that's how it goes.
In TV land.
And we ended up doing Entourage the first, I guess, 3 seasons I did while I was working there with him. and then I left, you know, about after 5 years with him. Yeah.
And so tell us about Entourage. To me, it's still my son's favorite show. He's watched every episode twice, which is outstanding to me because I can't really watch things twice. But it had a great combination of hipness, cheek, you know, kind of tongue-in-cheek Hollywood, lambasting it in the nicest of all ways, with a really nice blend of music. So talk about what they looked for musically and how you guys were able to deliver on that show.
You know, we really, you know, started off just kind of like cool indie bands, hip hop, indie rock, and the producers were kind of open. You know, I think they brought the classic rock sound, you know, that came from the creator Doug Ellin, and but they also wanted the show to appeal to younger audience, obviously, and the audience of like the characters. And so, you know, it was just like, what music are those guys into? What are they hearing in their environment when they go out to a club, when they're in a restaurant, when they're hanging at home? What are they listening to? And so we, you know, got to expand it a little bit more as we got going, and you know, started pulling, you know, people were really interested in it and were sending us a lot of stuff. We'd get a lot of stuff early, and so, you know, we just had a lot of fun pulling up, you know, cool stuff that we liked.
And were you there when they had the rapper on the show, the Saigon?
Saigon.
Or was that after?
Yes.
So how did that
Saigon.
process was interesting to me. I always wondered, like, okay, did this guy exist as a rapper first? Was he cast as a rapper? What was the story on that?
Saigon was a rapper, and he was signed to Just Blaze's production company. Okay. And he, one of the producers of the show was connected with Just Blaze and was friends with him. And that's how Saigon came into the show. And so it was basically presented like, here's this guy we want to put in the show. Right. Here's the music that he has.
So it was already prepackaged.
Which was only a mixtape at the time. And so it was like him rapping over other rappers' beats. So it was like him over a Nas song or him over other stuff. So nothing was cleared. Nothing was like
hip-hop can be a mess.
It was a big mess, and somehow it came together, and it was. It took a long time to like get all the details worked out in the end. But
it was a great platform for someone like that. But yet he still didn't gain.
It was a great platform. It was amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, you could not have asked for a better.
Right. It was like what they did with the tequila, right? The setup for the tequila.
They learned by that time how to take advantage of setting up things on the show. Right. But for Saigon, his label, like, he didn't have a record. You know, like, we just had this mixtape, and so
that was a miss. You needed to have that record.
They didn't have the record to like set him up, pop it right afterwards. So the stuff that we had put in the show was stuff that they, you know, had put out on this mixtape. It wasn't officially released, so they couldn't really do anything with it.
That's, you know, that timing and lighting thing in life you got to have. When you get that moment, and they see you, you better have that hit song in your pocket to go. Here's the next one.
Exactly. I mean, it's you know, it's funny. It makes me think of like kind of like, you know, when people ask me about how do you become a music supervisor or that kind of question. It's like being in the right place at the right time, but then having the knowledge or the drive to take advantage of that experience or that opportunity, and they missed out on that one.
That's tough. So then, you know, 5 years ago, 2009, you made a left turn and you jumped off the independent supervision train. You took the corporate job at Sony. Talk about why you did that and that experience.
I was, you know, I wasn't sure at the time because I had left recently from Hit the Ground Running to be independent, and I was working on Entourage and had some other projects and was excited to kind of take that opportunity and see what I could do. But at the same time, the chance to work with Leah, at the time Spring wasn't there, it was Pilar, and the chance to work with them was a really great opportunity. I didn't think was necessarily going to come around that often. And to get experience working on films, which I hadn't done as much before that. So it seemed like an opportunity that I should take and try it out and see what I could do. And had an amazing experience working with them. And
worked on a lot of big movies.
worked on a lot of really big movies and made some great relationships out of that with directors and producers, and worked on a lot of small movies also, and you know, just kind of get experience, a different kind of experience doing those. And there's always challenges on every project.
Right.
So you know, those were.
And you worked on the Jump Street movie, right?
Experience.
First time?
So I worked on the first Jump Street movie when I was there, and I'd worked with the directors on their first movie, which was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Right. Great animated film.
That was one of the first movies that I worked on at Sony when I started, and I met them, and you know, was with Leah, and we're pitching them music and ideas, and then when Jump Street came around, it just became another opportunity for me to work with them, and I had the right kind of taste and sensibility for what they wanted for the movie, and it ended up being a way bigger hit than I think anybody expected. So. So it kind of helped launch them, and I got to work with them again on Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, and then recently again on 22 Jump Street.
So on 22 Jump Street, what was your favorite use of music that you, in the film? You know, because it's always, to me, supervision is about that moment. The great stuff about it, obviously, there's a lot of pain in the clearances, like we talked about, the hip-hop clearances and stuff like that, but the moments that are great is when you finally find one that everybody likes, and it just works the picture. So talk about that experience for you, and what piece of music was special for you on that one.
There was a lot, obviously. There's a lot of music in it, and a lot of things that were exciting to me about that process, and it was music that I was really excited about, so it just makes it all the more fun. I think there was one spot in particular that you know that took a little bit of work, but ended up one of my favorites in the movie, which is the spring break scene where they walk out on the beach in spring break, and Diplo's DJing, and there's, you know, tons of kids partying on the beach, and they look super cool, slow-mo. So the track that's playing in the movie is called Too Turned Up, and it's by Flosstradamus and Waka Flocka Flame. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten the track really early on from Flosstradamus' manager, who also manages Diplo. So we had connected while we were shooting, and he passed me the song, and when I listened to it, I just heard it and was like, this is so cool. It's got such a good energy. It's got drama, but it's exciting, and it's big sound, and can really fill, you know, the theater and fill the scene. So
did it have the rap on it already?
Had the rap on it, and everything was ready to go. I you know, it was one of the first things I cut in the picture with the editor, and you know, played it for the directors, and I was so excited to play it for them. And they watched it, and they were kind of underwhelmed, and they were like, oh, you know, it's all right, but we're thinking like more fun. We want to have something more fun in this scene. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'll go back to the drawing board, and ended up going through probably 30 or 40 more songs for that spot, and you know, everything was like, oh, this works, but it's not quite right, and it doesn't have this, or it doesn't have the drama, or it doesn't have the excitement, or it's too pop. You know, the directors.
There's always adjectives, right?
The directors want, you know, they don't want like the top pop thing, but they want something that's like a little bit indie, a little bit underground, that kind of crosses over into being that. Right. So, you know, we screened the movie probably 3 or 4 or 5 times with different songs each time in that spot, and nothing ever really felt right.
So in your head, though, you knew that was the record, right?
I kept that song in the back of my mind, like, this is the best. So far, I have not found anything. So we, one of the last, you know, ended up being one of the last kind of meetings about that spot. You know, we started going back through things that we had pitched already. Like, has there been anything else that we've, you know, looked at already that is going to work?
Did you bring it up, or did they bring it up?
And no, I pitched them. I played them about 3 or 4 things we had tried before, and nothing was that great. And they left the room, and they were like, you know, we'll just keep looking. So they left the room, and I went to my music editor, and I was like, hey, put that one back in. Let's try, you know, the scene has been way cut down from what it originally was. Let's try it again and see if we can, you know, recut it and make it work. And so we put it in there, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is what they want.
Because you needed a little bit of EDM, a little bit of hip hop for energy, right?
Exactly.
And it can't be too commercial, but you know, it's...
Exactly. It was that EDM, the hip hop combo, and then I think at that point they realized that point in the story was really important, where they're chasing the drug dealer and they're about to catch that person. No spoilers. They're about to catch them, and so there's some drama and there's high stakes at that point in the story, and the music needed to have those stakes, but at the same time be big and fun. And so I ran down the hallway to the directors, and they were in another room already. I was like, guys, you got to come back. I've got the song. It's totally what you want now. And they're like, okay, give us a minute, you know. And then they came back later on and played it for them, and they were like, yep, that's it. Like, we've been through all these things.
Right.
That was the first thing.
Right. It's a true case of perseverance, because so many times you feel, oh my God, I got this one, and then they go, nope, and they don't even like flinch, like you feel
you
it, you have it.
spent so much time,
right.
You sit there with it, and you've watched it, and
right.
you're like, this is so perfect. And then you get there, and they just dismiss it in a moment. And
right,
you're
and
like,
your job is just keep back, find more, even though you know it's a tough, and it's a service job, right? That's what we do. So you have to deal with it and keep
right.
moving, you know?
Exactly, you take the directions.
It's great story though. So tell me some of the other stuff you got coming up now. What's next for you?
Well, I work on Being Mary Jane, which is BET's first scripted show. It's a drama.
What's her name's the star?
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, beautiful.
She is very beautiful.
Nice little ad in the bathtub, I saw that.
That's a really fun show to work on. I work with producers that I did a couple movies for at Sony, Jumping the Broom and Sparkle. And you know, they like to use a lot of music. They like to push the boundaries, and they keep
That's not Will Packer, is it?
Real eclectic. No, that's Salim Akil and Mara Akil.
Oh, Mara Akil, yeah.
Yeah, so they've done, she's been super successful.
She's great, she's great.
So they like to keep it real eclectic, so we use a lot of different styles of music, singer-songwriter, a little more funkier stuff, electronic stuff, a lot of female vocals, of course, soulful females, and a little bit of hip hop and a little bit of R&B too, you know. But it's great.
And what films you got coming?
As far as films, I got next year a film that's coming out called Kitchen Sink, which is a horror comedy, and it's got a lot of comedians in it. Bob Odenkirk is in it, and Patton Oswalt, and Vanessa Hudgens is the main star girl. And
what happens in that movie?
It's a movie about this town where kids live next to aliens and vampires.
Okay.
And it takes place in high school.
Right.
And they all live together, and they've kind of figured out a way to live together, and then an alien invasion comes. And so they all have to fight off the aliens.
Nice.
So it's kind of all those exciting sci-fi things. And
what type of music are you using in that one?
A lot of punk music in that one, which was cool to do something a little bit different. So 80s punk, and then like contemporary younger bands, and the director on that was really set on that kind of style, and so we came in and just helped him keep the ones that he really was attached to, and then helped him find some new stuff, and that was a really fun one to work on. So
and you doing any movies this season, Kent?
Not yet. Not yet. We'll see.
She's a good one. We had her on a couple weeks ago. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Good. Well, anybody, Kier Lehman, and we'll see you next time on Q-Score. Thanks for coming out, my man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it was fun.
Peace and love. For more Q-Score, please check us out at emPOWERme.tv to find out what goes on behind the curtain and how the film and TV music gets made. It happens right here. Tune in.